Coach, coming off a 24-14 win against number 21 North Carolina on Sunday, I guess first off, can you kind of just look back and with a little bit more time from Sunday, just assess how you thought the guys performed?
Well, obviously it's a great win for us. Anytime we have a P5 win and on top of that a top 25 win, I mean, I don't want to take those for granted. But, after a little bit of time, we looked at the Matt Boss report and the stats, and we've got some work to do. I think that we're not wrestling the way that we want to wrestle, especially in those first 5 weights. I didn't think that we got after it, and we weren't aggressive enough. We didn't score enough points. And then we kind of got it together after the intermission on the back half of our lineup. Those guys really kind of competed hard and scored a lot of points, and that's kind of what ultimately was the deciding factor in the duel. But good effort. I think it was good for us to get a good ranked win, to kind of as a signature win to kind of kick off the season. But we need to be better than what we were on Sunday if we're going to reach our goals for sure.
Just a few of the guys to kind of highlight. I mean, I know we talked about the big back-to-back pins from Will and Luke of just the growth and the development they've had, especially wrestling at different weights this year than they did last year.
Yeah, obviously that was a big momentum swing when we come out of intermission and Will Miller goes out, takes control of the match, and gets a fall in the first period. Really got the crowd into it. It got our team excited, and it seemed like we wrestled with a little bit more aggression, the back half of the lineup. And then, Luke Uliano comes out there and is kind of in a little bit of a battle back and forth. Finds his way on top and ends up getting another fall. So back-to-back pins, really separated us and put us in the driver's seat for the rest of the duel. But I think both of those wrestlers, at a new weight class this year, it's taken them a month or so to adjust to the weight. I do think that they're both going to be, much more comparable to size. I think both of them were undersized last year at the weight class they wrestled at, and so I think this is going to give them the opportunity now to be at a weight where they feel strong and don't feel like they're giving up size when they compete.
Jacob last year, later in the year, kind of flourished the heavyweight spot and has faced some tough competition this year and has some pretty competitive losses there and has some good wins too. How have you kind of seen his development from where he's come in the last, I don't know whether it's 12 months or even 18 months? Yeah,
I think if I remember correctly, when we did our press conference, at the beginning of the year, like our media day, I think that Jacob was maybe one that I mentioned that I was expecting big things out of this year. I mean, he's made tremendous growth in the off season. He's not the same wrestler he was a year ago. He's had some losses to some really good opponents so far, but he's been competitive, and then he's also had some really good wins. I thought that win on Sunday was a really good win. And he wrestled, got a couple of offensive scores, and I do think that he's continuing to get better and better, and as his confidence grows, I think you're going to see his ability to cut loose and take more risk is going to grow as well. And I think when he does that, I think he's going to start. You're going to see him climbing up the rankings.
Ike Byers is a guy who has been in the program a long time, made his first dual start to do it in varsity gym, comes up with a win. Just what have you seen from him of just to put himself in that position to be able to contribute in a setting like that and what he's meant for the program?
Well, one of our core beliefs, we've got 7 main core beliefs in our program, and one of them is delayed gratification, and that, Ike Byers personifies that core belief, in delayed gratification. He's been in our program 5 years, has never been able to crack a starting lineup, and has really kind of made tremendous growth over the last 12 months and, found himself in a battle for the starting spot this year and really has done a great job earning his way into our lineup. That was his first start in varsity gym, which I know there were some emotions and some anxiety there. So for him to come away with a victory, in his first dual meet appearance in varsity gym, I thought was pretty special for someone that's been with the program for so long and has kind of stayed committed to the process and, really personifies delayed gratification and kind of what we talk about. And I think you'll see a better product out of him now that he's kind of found himself in that spotlight, now in varsity gym. It's just different, when you've been there as a spectator cheering on your teammates in that crowd, it's a little bit different than when you're the guy and you're out there. And I think that was something that, was a valuable experience for him on Sunday.
Just 2 duels into the schedule, 2 ranked ACC opponents. I mean, NC State, we've seen how good they are, number 2 in the country. maybe when you lose a duel, it's not as bad as you think. When you win a duel, maybe everything's not perfect. How have you kind of assessed, even just in those two environments, to kind of where your team is at? And I know you touched on that a little bit earlier, but
yeah, well, we're definitely wrestling better as a team than we were in early November. I mean, that NC State match, I mean, hats off to them. They're a really, really good team, probably the best dual meet team I've ever faced as a coach. And we wrestled them the first weekend out of the gate, and it kind of really showed us where we were at and that we had to improve. We have improved a lot since then. I still don't think we're where we need to be if we're going to reach the goals that we want to achieve this year. But yeah, I mean, I knew that the state match, there was a lot to take away from it. I mean, but our schedule too is just so difficult. Like, I mean, you look at our schedule this year, I mean, our guys, pretty much every one of our starters have wrestled 2 or 3 guys in the top 10 in the country already, and we haven't even, we're just entering upon Christmas break. So I think this schedule was designed to be really tough, so our guys will be battle tested. And I think next semester when we start getting to our conference slate and even some more really tough top 10 opponents we have coming up next semester, I think it'll really help our guys come March. I think they'll be ready and more capable of getting the job done at the national tournament.
Just we've got Southern Scuffle coming up. If you could kind of preview a little bit what the training period is like, and just how you kind of looking forward to that as the new year starts.
Yeah, so the Southern Scuffle is always on our schedule, and this year's no different. It's a really close tournament, and it has some of the best teams in the country. We can go there and get our guys some tests. I'm not sure that our entire starting lineup will be wrestling at the Scuffle, but we'll definitely have the majority of our starters will be wrestling. We'll probably enter 17 entries in the Scuffle. And it'll be a good test for us coming back off of Christmas break. We've got some guys that are, could end up being in our lineup next semester that really need those high-level matches. So, I think our training and our prep has been good through exams. We just had a great workout just a few minutes ago. And now we'll give some of our guys a little bit of time to go home for a few days for Christmas break. We'll have probably, maybe a half a dozen to a dozen guys that'll stay here and train over Christmas. And, we're looking forward to the Southern Scuffle.
Just last one for me. You got named National Team of the Week. Is that a feather in your cap? Does that do much for you, or how do you kind of react to an award like that?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a great honor. Anytime that you're, labeled as the national team of the week in Division I wrestling, you can tell me, Brett, has that ever happened? Have we ever been named national team of the week? I don't know if we have. In my time here, I don't recollect that we've ever been named national team of the week. So yeah, it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal for recruiting. I think it's a big deal for our athletics department that one of our sports here is national team of the week, after a ranked win. And I don't want to take that stuff for granted. We've had a lot of success in our program, and we've got a great tradition, a great history, but I also don't want to take for granted some of those things that we should celebrate. That we've got a really nationally recognized wrestling program, and I don't want to ever take that for granted. And I'm thankful and humbled, and I think it's a great accolade for our program.